The Yahoo data breach back in 2013 through 16 became the largest breach of data in Internet history. As you can see from this reporting graph, that up to 3 billion accounts were stolen during a period of time in 2013. 3 billion adds up to be more than the total number of hacked accounts in the next 8 largest events. That's a lot of people. Maybe you had the same reaction that I did when I heard about these numbers. What? You've got to be kidding. There are 500,000 people that still use Yahoo? Well, they were using it, and they were hacked. My name is Shad Sluter, and I'd like to help you become a better IT professional and programmer using good security methods. So let's look at this case here of how Yahoo got hacked. The hack was carried out using a standard technique, using the spam emails that you get with an attachment that leads to an intrusion. They call this spear phishing. Spear phishing is different than a regular phishing because it's more accurate. It's targeted at somebody special, whether it's a technician or a CEO of a company or just anyone that happens to work inside of Yahoo. And so nobody actually knows what the message was or who delivered it or who opened it, but it was enough to let the hackers get inside. Once they were inside, they began to search around to see what valuable assets there were. There were 2 targets, really. The user database, which was stored in a specific proprietary method for Yahoo, and then the user management tool, which allows you to create new users and delete users, the usual admin features. We know who the characters are that were involved with this. There was a case opened by the US government against Russian operatives, people that actually worked with the Russian security systems here. So we've got Dmitry, and we've got another one that I can't pronounce, but we've got these Alexei. The FBI certainly put them on their list of people that they wanted to get a hold of, and they brought them to court. The actual case ended with some of them declaring themselves to be guilty. They declared a plea bargain, and at least one of them got 5 years in prison with a $250,000 fine. Now that seems a little bit light if you ask me, because they compromised 3 billion accounts. How much was that actually worth? We know how much it ended up with because there was a report here by an Arizona cybersecurity firm that saw the $300,000 price tag associated with the sale of the entire database. So $300,000, it could have been more. It seems like that was a little low, if you ask me, for that many accounts. So once they figured out that the database was there and the user management tool was there, what did they do and make these accounts work? Well, the first thing they have to do is create a backdoor account so they can slip back in, create new users, and download things at a later date. So one event to hack into the system, and once they have that backdoor account created, they're ready to go to create other havoc. So when they got inside, what did they get? The treasure chest box contains the names of everyone in the accounts. It shows their phone number. And then, importantly, it shows their password challenge questions and answers. So, for instance, who was your 3rd grade teacher? Or where was the first movie that you went to? They also had the recovery emails. So if they wanted to reset somebody's password, they would have the email address of where that message would go. Then also a proprietary system that was built by Yahoo used something called a Nonce value. Nonce is simply a number that is used once. It's a little bit like salting your password, where it's a randomly generated number, and in this case, it's only used in one occasion. So you can recreate cookies in your browser. So sessions and login sessions can be redone, and so they could use a username and never have to enter the password to actually get a session on an application. So what did they target? Well, there were, first of all, 6,500 accounts for which they generated cookies and made session values for. And who were they looking for? Apparently, the most notable accounts were Russian government people that were involved in business, so it was mostly a Russian operation. However, 500,000, or what is it, 500 million accounts were also compromised in the process. When the news first broke to Yahoo, they assumed that 26 accounts had been hacked. These were the high-profile accounts that were obviously the target. However, in 2016, they had to announce that it was 500 million. Let's print that again. 500 million accounts were hacked. And then later in December, I believe it was, they said actually every single account in Yahoo was hacked. 3 billion of them. You might recall that back in 2008 and again in 2010, I believe it was, Microsoft attempted to take over Yahoo. They wanted to buy it. What did they offer? Well, the eventual selling price to Verizon was $4.8 billion, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But in the old days, Microsoft was willing to spend $45 billion back in 2008. Microsoft was battling for market share with Google. They were still trying to compete with search engines, and Yahoo seemed to be a good second choice to most people. Well, $45 billion would have been a horrible investment. The recent sale was actually just $4.8 billion. So you might say, well, Yahoo was actually worth 10% of what they once were. One could also argue that it was actually worthless. In this news story, it says Verizon signals that its Yahoo and AOL divisions are almost worthless. Why is that? Well, it's because they had other parts of the company that were actually worth something to them. And so, according to their calculations, that $200 million is really what they paid for the Yahoo section of the value. So that's what the business analysts think. So Yahoo became basically a $0 company compared to what it once was. So there's a good lesson for you. Get your data in secure places. My name is Shad Sluter, and my job is to make you a better programmer and a better IT professional to keep your data secure using good practices. So check out some of the other playlists I have, including how to build an application on the web that is using good standard techniques for keeping your data safe. So good luck, and we'll see you in the next videos.